Good. Okay. Welcome everybody to our April meeting. The first thing I have to do is apologize for Damien, my co-organizer and partner in crime. He's managed to injure himself, like somehow, and he can't walk. So for weeks. So yeah. So I've had to step in. I'm hoping he's going to be all right next month because I'm overseas next month. So hopefully he'll be here. But keep an eye on the meetup page just in case we have to shift the date for the meeting. Also want to apologize for last month. We had to cancel at the last minute because our speaker fell ill. So, but we've got him speaking tonight. So you haven't missed out on anything. So just, yeah, tonight we got a double header, so it's going to be a busy night. We've got, first up will be my colleague Ranjan Mishra is going to talk to you all about custom blocking in ADF. And then we've got Adam Stevenson, who's going to present all about enterprise AI. So really looking forward to that. Just a heads up, we are recording the event. Hope that's okay. And be aware that the microphones overhead, actually, they used to hang down. I don't know what they've done with them now, but they're very sensitive. So they do pick up. It's great for recording the questions for people, but if you're trying to have a private discussion about your company's secrets, or if you're making comments like, I wish that Toomey guy would shut up, it's going to be picked up on the recording. So just be aware of that. Okay, so those who come, and I see a lot of familiar faces here. Who's here for the first time at this group? Yep.
Oh,
Neil?
just one.
Okay, just one. Okay, well, there we go. Yes, and Neil, by the way, is a fellow MVP for Microsoft. So great to have him here. So we always start off the meeting with a little bit of a news roundup, just what's happening in the past month, because the cloud's moving so quickly all the time. Damien put at least half of this deck together. I threw in a couple of things, but because we got a double header tonight, I'm going to go through it very quickly. But I will share the slides on the meetup, so keep an eye on the comments for the meetup, and you can download the slides and follow the links and everything, and get the news. We wouldn't be able to have these meetups if we didn't have sponsors. So a big shout out to Codify because they pay for the pizza and the beer. And huge thanks to Microsoft for giving us this wonderful venue to be here, and also for the time for Bernie, who's here faithfully every month, hanging out until 8 o'clock or so until he finally kicks us out. So volunteering time. Okay, and it is a community group, so we welcome people to get involved. As you can see, we've got plenty of openings for the second half of the year. So if you've got anything you want to share with the community, it doesn't have to be a full-blown presentation. You don't have to come in with 200 slides and an hour-long talk. If you want to talk for 10 minutes about something really cool that you did at your employer or whatever, and that you're allowed to talk about, yeah, by all means, let's share. Absolutely, that's what it's all about. So tonight, as I said, we have a double header. Next month, just looking forward to May. We got Pacific. He's going to, where is he sitting? There. Right over there. He's gonna talk about Traffic Manager next month. So yeah, just keep an eye on the meetup site in case we have to shift the date. Hopefully it'll be fine. Okay, so with that, I'll get into the updates and go through them pretty quickly. So we've got an Azure Firewall feature, which is basically that you can draft before you deploy. So if I understand this correctly, when you're making changes, every change would commit and it would take time to do that. So it could be very tedious if you were making a lot of changes. Now you can do a bunch of changes as a draft and then deploy it all at once. So it makes things a little bit faster for you. Then we have auto scaling is now gone GA with Databricks Lakebase. So there's two different ways you can do Lakebase. You can have provisioned and you can have auto scale. And each one has its own advantages and features. So the provision, if you want to manually control your scalability and have a high degree of high availability, like readable secondaries, for example, then you want to stay with the provision. But if you want to have that flexibility for it to scale automatically based on workload, demand, and actually scale down to 0, if you need to save money and funds, the auto scaling feature gives you that capability. There's a bunch of new VMs. I'm not even going to try to spell out those. You can read them there. But they're basically enhancing in things like performance and scalability. So a lot of specs there as you can look up if you go to that link at the bottom. Azure User Delegation SAS gives a little bit more features in terms of shared access signatures. And just to be clear, Microsoft still recommends that you use Entra ID for authentication. It's a much better way for handling authentication than shared access signatures. Because even with this new feature with user delegation, it's still a bearer token, and if it's leaked, it's good until the expiry, unless you kill it at the source where it's going to. But at least with the user delegation, it gives you a little extra tie-in with Enter ID in terms of how you manage and delegate that SAS signature. So Application Gateway WAF Insights is GA. But it gives you just some analytics over your WAF and the traffic going through there. Fireworks AI on Microsoft Foundry now. So this is an open model inference, very low latency on that. Production grade performance and reliability, and that's now available through Microsoft. And then GPT 5.4 is also available in Foundry right now, so I think that is the latest version of GPT. It's good. It gets stronger and stronger, more intelligent all the time. And Mistral Document AI is taking the next step beyond just optical character recognition. So this is for real deep document analysis and getting great insights from that. That's a product which you now have available as well through Microsoft Foundry.
Is that a third-party product or a Microsoft capability?
That's a good question. I believe it's a third-party product, but I'm not 100% sure.
It's the the Mistral model. It's a model trained for document recognition, but Microsoft are hosting it as a PaaS service. So it's a third-party model, the same as Grok's got their models and OpenAI's got their models. So it's a Mistral open source. Yeah. So third-party model.
For document analysis. Okay. And then instant access incremental to snapshot. So it used to be when you would take a snapshot, that snapshot wouldn't be available until the finished copy of data. But apparently with this feature now, the data it's available immediately when you take the snapshot. So if you're going to roll something fast, very quickly, then you can do that with it. Okay, that's it for the updates. So just some resources. We do have a Slack team available if you want to join that and have some conversations on that. We've got a YouTube channel which we do post all of our recordings. So this recording will eventually get on the YouTube channel. It'll give me about a week to get it up there. And you can go and review and watch all of our past meetups on there. And then of course there's plenty of on-demand training available on site, so you all know about Microsoft Learn, but you've also got Pluralsight and Agility to paid subscriptions with that. The blogs, really key blogs here, and all these updates came from those blogs. So they're really good to keep in touch with everything. And with no further ado, tonight we're speakers. So we're going to start with Ranjan and then go with Adam. Not the clicker.
don't need to join the meeting, right? Okay.
No, it shouldn't. It should share the screen.
Um, so today I'll be talking about custom logging from Azure Data Factory. Just to know my audience, has anyone worked here with Azure Data Factory? And has anyone worked with log analytics and log ingestion APIs? Great. Okay. So most of us has not worked with it. So I'll just tell you the pain point. So Azure Data Factory is a service mostly used for the ETL pipelines, right? And with Azure Data Factory, we have by default logs where you can see what are the pipeline runs as they passed or failed, right? And you can go into the pipeline runs and see what has failed or input and outputs and everything. But what it doesn't provide is custom logging. Like if you want to write, I was trying to copy 5,000 rows, but only 4,000 rows copied, right? It doesn't give you that level of logging capability. So in my recent client experience, they wanted to do something like that. So usually what we do is we either export a file or we write a log file in the storage account or we send a email saying that this is the status of the pipeline job. But for this one, they wanted to. Right. So in this case, the client wanted to keep the logs in the log analytics so that they have like 100 other apps and services pushing the data into the log analytics. So they wanted a centralized view of all the logs, including the pipelines. So that's where I was searching how I can export the custom logs from ADF to log analytics. That's where I found this log ingestion API using Monitor. And I'll just show you what I did. Like Dan mentioned, right? This is something I did for the first time, and it was quite. I didn't find many blogs about it, so I thought maybe I'll present it here. So in case you need something like this, you can know how to do it. So we have the. We'll go through 4 steps: problem statement, service context, and how do we implement it, and what are the benefits, right? Problem statement we already discussed. Like if you see the logs, this is how the log look like, right? It says what are the pipeline has run, when did it start, when did it end, and whether it is success or failed. And if you double click on them, you'll see the whole pipeline, but it doesn't give you that logging experience, right? Custom logs. So we'll talk about how we can do the custom logging today. The limitation and service context, what are the services we are going to use? So for this one, we'll be using these services. Azure Data Factory is where which will push the data, the logs, right? Then we have log analytics, where we will publish so we'll create a custom log table where we will put all the custom logs from ADF in log analytics, and which can be searchable via KQL, right? So it can act as a single source of truth for monitoring for all your services. It works with other services. It's just, ADF had its own monitoring. So we are bringing the custom logging from ADF into the log analytics with this. And the log ingestion API is the bridge which will be used by the ADF to publish the data into log analytics, right? So implement the solution is first we need to create a data collection point. So data collection point is a unique regional URL, which is like the unique URL which you'll use to send the logs, right? But I think this is a recent development where you don't need a data collection endpoint anymore. You can just use the data collection rule URL to directly publish the logs. But I think there is a caveat to that. If you are creating this data collection rule and endpoint from portal, it doesn't support direct ingestion using the DCR URL. But if you're using pipelines or biceps, then you can use the DCR directly to ingest the log. I didn't quite understand it is that the portal is behaving differently from the biceps, but this is the note I found on the Microsoft Learn. Right. So to create a DCA, we can go to the monitor and create data collection endpoint, and we provide a name. And once it is created, we just need to get the URL from there to use in the in the HTTP call. After that, we need to create a custom table in log analytics. So all the custom tables are must end with _CL to identify their custom tables. And we can create a custom table which will then we need to tell what is the schema of the table, like what are the logs we will be sending, so that we can implement filtering and one layer of transformation before all the systems send the data. Like you have multiple system can send the data to the same custom table, but you don't want all the data to capture, right? Some may send like 100 fields and some may send like 5 fields. So you just put what is the schema for your table, and there is a transformation layer sitting on top of it, which will transform the incoming request to that table request. Third one is the authentication and authorization. So you just give either you can use auth based app insights, app registration and use auth to authentication, or you can use also system assigned identity or managed identity. It works with all of them. And you just need to give system managed identity. Then is the ADF web activity. It's just a simple HTTP post call where you can give the URL. The URL consists of, if you see, DCE URL, the data collection endpoint URL, then data collection rules, then the DCR ID, data collection rule ID, then streams, then the custom table name. So it's a very simple URL you can configure, and the method is post. You need to send 2 headers with the authorization. If you're using auth2, you need to send the bearer token and content type. If you're using system managed identity, you don't need to send authentication. Then body, in the body, so the one that I have created, it's a simple one, like pipeline name, status, and rows. So I'm just using simple one just for the demo, but you can, in the actual project, I have used like 20 rows of 20 fields where I can send many information from the ADF.
Yeah. So, Ranjan, those 3 attributes you've got in your JSON, those are the column names in the custom table.
Correct. Yeah.
And so do you still need to do a mapping if it's 1 for 1?
Yeah. You can, while creating the DCR, you can write the transformation rules. For example, I don't want rows processed, and I want it to be records inserted. So because some other system is sending records inserted, and this is the new one I want to. So you can write those custom transformation rules to translate these payload into those columns. Any questions? No, that's my teams. Yeah, the benefits we already discussed. Like if you want centralized monitoring, you can log more than just success and failures, which by default we get from Azure Data Factory. Then we can track more counts, structural changes to the data catalog. So we can write anything in the logs, which is useful to us as per our need. So we just don't need to stick to the regular monitoring of the ADF. Then you can truly centralize all logs from multiple services. And usually, clients don't use just ADF for pipelines, right? And they have function app, logic apps, and lot many other systems which extract logs. So in many of our clients, they have this requirement for centralized monitoring, so that they can view all the monitoring, all the services monitored from the same place. So it will help you with that, because for ADF, you had to go to a ADF monitor and look at those. And there are no custom logs, right? So this improves that as well, enhanced quality of data monitoring. Yeah. We can jump to the demo. I've already written a piece and we'll try to complete the demos as soon as possible because Adam has already told me his 111 slides.
Don't you worry, I'll be very smart.
Okay, let me just. So let's start with creating an ADF. First. I'll also create a storage account, which will use for file copying in the pipeline, just a sample pipeline. So I'll just create a storage account. Then we'll create a log analytics workspace where we will create the custom tables for the logs. Wait for log analytics to be created.
What's the relationship between Azure Monitor and Log Analytics workspaces? Is the workspace where you hold the data and then monitors where you visualize it?
I'm not entirely sure how to. Oh, okay.
So I can answer this one. So Azure Monitor is actually like a suite of tools, and Log Analytics is effectively the log storage part of Azure
Yeah.
Monitor.
Okay, I was happy there. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have the analytics as well. Okay. Now we go inside analytics, go to settings, tables, and we'll try to create a custom table here. So as soon as you see custom table, the underscore CL is, they have taken it out so that they make sure that it's always there. So we'll just put custom table. And I'll use it for analytics. And you see, it is asking for role and data collection endpoint. I think this is why Right, can you guys see okay, or should I zoom in?
Okay. Zoom it in, zoom it in.
Sorry about that. You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now you see while we create it from the portal, it's asking for data collection rule and data collection endpoint. So well, that's why they are asking you to create both when you create it from the portal. I'll go back and create. So the data